Hey everyone, and welcome back to Senior Health. Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into a room with total confidence only to stop dead in your tracks and think, what on earth did I come in here for? We've all been there. It's one of those funny little quirks of being human. But what if I told you that some of the earliest signs of dementia are just as subtle and just as easy to dismiss as a simple brain fart? Globally, over 55 million people are living with dementia, and for anyone over 45, it's a leading cause of dependency. Now, there's a huge misconception that dementia is just a normal part of getting old. Let me be clear, it is not. In fact, the seeds of this disease are often sown decades before the more obvious symptoms, like significant memory loss, ever show up. But here's the good news. Spotting the warning signs early can be a game changer. It can help slow the disease's progression and protect your brain's health for the long haul. So today, we're going to uncover 6 of the most commonly overlooked early warning signs of dementia. And stick around because later, we'll dive into what you can do to fight back. Before we jump in, I'm always curious to see our amazing community. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from today. It's incredible to see how far this vital health information travels. All right, let's get into it. The first surprising find, changes in posture and gait. Think about it. Your movement tells a story. The way you walk, your balance, your coordination, it's all a complex dance choreographed by your brain. When cognitive function starts to decline, there's a good chance it will affect motor control. But these changes are sneaky. We often write them off as, oh, I'm just getting older or I must have slept funny. But this is more than just age. It might start as a subtly dragging of the feet, a new hesitation. Instead of lifting the feet properly, the steps become shorter, almost like a shuffle. You might notice a loved one starting to stumble more often or having trouble navigating around furniture in a house they've lived in for 40 years. Coordination can take a hit too. Simple everyday tasks like using a fork and knife or buttoning a shirt suddenly become clumsy and difficult. You might see a change in posture, a new slump in the shoulders, or a tendency to lean to one side. While these little shifts might seem trivial at first, they can become more pronounced over time, impacting mobility and seriously increasing the risk of a dangerous fall. It's the body whispering that something in the brain is starting to change. Part 2. The second overlooked sign is all about the senses. Let's call it sensory disruption. Dementia isn't just a memory thief, it can hijack your entire perception of reality. Our brain is the master interpreter of everything we see, smell, hear, and touch. And when the neurons responsible for this start to degrade, the world can become a very confusing place. Take vision, for example. It's not about needing stronger glasses. People might start having trouble with depth perception. Pouring water into a glass becomes a messy affair, constantly overshooting the rim. Navigating stairs can suddenly feel treacherous, as if the steps are shifting or misaligned. This isn't an eye problem, it's a brain processing problem. Spatial awareness can also go haywire. This might look like constantly bumping into door frames or feeling completely overwhelmed and disoriented in a crowded supermarket. The brain is struggling to map out the body's position in space. Then there's our sense of smell and taste. It's a well-known fact, especially in Alzheimer's, that the ability to detect smells can be one of the very first casualties. That rich aroma of brewing coffee or the sweet scent of a rose might just disappear. And with it often goes the pleasure of eating. And what about hearing? This one's a double whammy. Some people develop a painful sensitivity to loud noises, while others find it impossible to distinguish a single voice in a noisy room. Research has drawn a powerful link between hearing loss in midlife and a significantly higher risk of developing dementia later on. Think about it. If your ears aren't catching the sound properly, your brain has to work overtime just to process the information. Over years, this cognitive strain can wear the brain down, contributing to memory loss. The third sign is one that most people would never connect to cognitive health: weakening muscle strength. I know what you're thinking. What does the strength of my hands have to do with the health of my brain? Well, as it turns out, quite a lot. Studies have uncovered a fascinating and robust link between a diminished grip strength in older adults and a higher future risk of dementia. This isn't about being a bodybuilder. It's about a noticeable decline in your functional strength. Are you suddenly finding it harder to open a jar of pickles? Is carrying a bag of groceries from the car feeling like a Herculean task? Does your hand feel like it might give out when holding a heavy pan? These could be subtle signals of early changes happening deep within the brain. A decline in overall muscle mass is linked to increased frailty, which in turn speeds up cognitive decline. If your arms and legs are weaker, you're less likely to exercise, creating a downward spiral. It's a powerful reminder that our mind and body are intricately connected. Maintaining your physical strength isn't just for your muscles, it's a way to protect your mind. Part 3. Our fourth early warning sign is a big one, and it happens when the lights go out. I'm talking about serious sleep disturbances. Sleep problems aren't just a symptom of dementia, they can actually be a cause. We all have a bad night now and then, but persistent life-altering changes to sleep patterns can be a massive red flag for underlying cognitive issues. This can go in two directions. For some, it's excessive daytime sleepiness. A person who never used to nap is suddenly dozing off in their armchair all day, feeling profoundly exhausted despite getting what seems like a full night's rest. For others, it's the classic struggle with insomnia. Trouble falling asleep, waking up multiple times during the night, or waking up at 4 a.m. wide awake and unable to feel rested. But it gets stranger. Have you ever heard of REM sleep behavior disorder? It's a condition where a person physically acts out their dreams. They might be talking, shouting, punching, or kicking in their sleep. This isn't just a quirky habit, it's strongly linked to developing certain types of dementia, like Lewy body dementia. Frequent, vivid, and distressing nightmares or sleep terrors can also be an early indicator of neurological changes. Why is this so important? Because a lack of deep restorative sleep starves the brain. It accelerates cognitive decline and fuels inflammation. Our brain does it housekeeping and clears out toxins while we sleep. When that process is disrupted night after night, the damage adds up. Addressing sleep issues early isn't just about feeling less tired. It's about actively defending your brain's long-term health. Now, I want to check in with you all. Does any of this information speak to you or make you think of someone you know? If you feel this video is providing valuable insight, please leave a comment with a simple 1. If not, a 0 is perfectly fine. Your honest feedback is what helps me make these videos better. Part 4. The fifth early warning sign is an emotional one, and it's often mistaken for something else. It's the loss of enthusiasm for life or apathy. It's one of the very first emotional changes to appear in dementia, but it's incredibly tricky because it looks a lot like depression or just a natural part of being old. But it's different. This isn't just feeling sad or down. Apathy is more like the color draining from a person's life. Someone experiencing this kind of cognitive decline might lose all interest in hobbies they once adored. A passionate gardener might let their plants wither. An avid card player might suddenly refuse to join the weekly game. Social events and family get-togethers, once a source of joy, now feel like a chore to be avoided. You might notice a flattened emotional response. They might not react with joy to good news or with sadness to bad news. Their face might seem blank or expressionless. There's also a profound lack of motivation to initiate tasks. It's not laziness. The brain's ability to generate drive and purpose is fading. The key difference between this and grief or depression is that dementia-related apathy is often persistent and isn't tied to any specific external event. It's an internal change, driven by the disease's impact on the brain's frontal lobes, which govern our personality, motivation, and social behavior. And that brings us to our sixth and final early sign, the struggle for words, also known as aphasia. This is one of the most classic and earliest recognized signs of dementia, particularly Alzheimer's disease. It starts subtly, that it's on the tip of my tongue feeling begins to happen all the time, but aphasia said more than that. It can show up in several ways. The person might struggle to remember common words, leading to long, frustrating pauses in conversation. They might substitute words, saying something odd like the thing you write with instead of pen, or using the wrong word entirely, like calling a watch a hand clock. You may notice them losing their train of thought mid-sentence, or repeating the same word or story over and over without any awareness they've just said it. Over time, even the names of familiar objects or close family members can start to slip away. Aphasia can actually begin years before a definitive dementia diagnosis is made, and it tends to get progressively worse, making communication incredibly difficult and isolating. It's a direct window into the brain's struggle to access and organize information. So, if you recognize these signs in yourself or someone you know, what's the next step? The single most important thing is to seek a medical evaluation right away. It allows doctors to rule out other treatable conditions that can mimic these symptoms, like thyroid problems, vitamin deficiencies, or even stress. And if it is dementia, an early diagnosis opens the door to therapies that can help manage symptoms and gives families time to plan for the future. Part 5. We've covered the warning signs, but let's pivot from the problem to the solution. Let's talk about how to fight back, because here's the most empowering truth. While there is currently no cure for dementia, research has shown us without a doubt that our lifestyle choices can dramatically reduce our risk or delay its onset. You have more power than you think. First up, build your cognitive reserve. Think of your brain like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger and more resilient it becomes. Lifelong learning and mental stimulation built new connections in your brain, creating a kind of cognitive reserve. It's like building a bigger, more intricate network of roads in a city. If one road gets blocked, your brain has plenty of other routes to take. What does this look like in practice? Challenge yourself. Learn a new language. Pick up